Hey guys, thank you for watching the Slatrock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. Here's your news for July 26, 2019. The WWE's second quarter earnings for 2019 were revealed yesterday, and the company's CEO Vince McMahon had plenty to say to shareholders. Even before the stats were revealed, there were some serious red flags, as shortly before the call, WWE executives sold thousands of shares of stock, seemingly trying to distance themselves from the stock before investors heard the bad news. In a conference call with investors, McMahon took the opportunity to refer to other, quote, blood and guts wrestling promotions, and though he didn't mention them by name, it seems the chairman was talking about AEW. As far as our competition is concerned, the old adage is that competition is good for everyone, McMahon said. I think that's generally the case, although again we're hoping that, to the extent that they are competition, we're hoping that they don't go on with blood and guts and gory things that they have been doing, which would be bad. It's no secret that the new promotion formed by Cody Rhodes hasn't exactly been PG, as Rhodes himself has bled heavily during AEW shows, including during his match against his brother Dustin at Double or Nothing, as well as after a chair shot to the head by Shawn Spears. Continuing, McMahon also addressed AEW's network TNT, which will host the promotion in October, saying, "I can't imagine they'd put up with that." The conference call wasn't all about AEW though, as McMahon gave updates on the company's lucrative, though controversial deal with the Saudi Arabian government, as well as falling ratings, merchandise sales, and live event attendance. To combat this, the company's program recently became edgier, with some foul language being used on both Raw and SmackDown, though McMahon wanted to let investors know that the company will remain PG. He said, "We haven't come anywhere close, actually, to going into another level, so that'll be something we do in terms of direction of content, more controversy, better storylines, etc. But at the same time, we're not going to go back to the Attitude Era. We're not going to go back to the blood and guts and things of that nature as is being done perhaps by a new potential competitor." Suggesting that his company was more family-friendly and therefore more profitable than their new competitor, McMahon was adamant that the company was not going back to the, quote, gory crap that we graduated from. When asked about the state of WWE's current product, which hasn't exactly been received with rave reviews by fans, McMahon said, "We have definitely turned a corner," and mentioned the major changes between this second quarter of the year and the first, the latter of which suffered majorly due to a series of injuries. The chairman also took the time to discuss two of the company's biggest recent signings, as he spoke candidly about Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman being brought on as executive directors of Raw and SmackDown Live. As the directors, Bischoff and Heyman will have some major influence backstage on the creative process behind the two brands, while Bischoff himself will also be helping to shape the Blue brand ahead of its big move to Fox in October of this year. Speaking to investors, McMahon said how the decision had been made due to the pair's successful track record in the past, as well as allowing Vince himself to look at WWE's process from a different point of view. He said, "It allows me to look at a longer-range story arc standpoint, and also spend more time on talent development and not get into the weeds as much as I had to do in the past." The chairman of the board wasn't the only person with a mic during the conference call, as WWE's co-president George Barrios also spoke, breaking down WWE's metrics by the month, a level of detail that the company doesn't usually supply. It's arguable that Barrios shouldn't have gone into such detail, as what he said wasn't exactly positive, as TV ratings and attendance slowed consistently during the second quarter of 2019. These metrics were particularly bad in June 2019 compared to June 2018, but April 2019's decline from the previous year wasn't so severe. It wasn't all bad news from Barrios though, as digital consumption of WWE increased dramatically, with a 17% increase in digital video views bringing the total views for the second quarter to 9 billion. There was also a 22% increase in the hours spent consuming WWE's content on digital platforms, as the number rose to 324 million hours of programming watched online for the period. There was also a 10% increase in social media followers, as the company can now boast having over 1 billion followers across their various social media platforms. Though this was good news, investors know that the WWE's bread and butter is what is put out on TV, and McMahon had a strong answer when asked whether hiring new writers was a sound investment in the company. He said, "Yes, bringing in new faces, new blood who have different kinds of ideas and connections and so forth. Again, it's just not one man's vision. It's now a combination of what will happen in the future. When you look at not just television ratings but metrics from social and digital media and what have you, that reality is the new way of promoting, notwithstanding the fact that we are going to continue to build the motherships, as it were, Raw and SmackDown." WWE was profitable during the quarter that contained WrestleMania, which is the period covering April 1st to June 30th of this year. Though this quarter was profitable, it wasn't the best showing by the company, as the total revenue for WWE's second quarter was $268.9 million, an impressive figure, but still 5% down from the second quarter of 2018, which boasted $2.83 million. Despite the decline in revenue from the second quarter and the unprofitable first quarter, the company remains in a strong financial position, largely thanks to the enormous TV rights fees for Raw and SmackDown Live. Though this conference call wasn't the most glowing of reports about the state of WWE today, the stock market responded well to it. In April of this year, the WWE stock price reached a record high of $100 per share, and though it has fallen considerably since then, the stock price closed on Thursday at $74.68 a share, up 9% from the start of the day. During the financial report, it was revealed that there has been a decline in subscribers in the WWE network, though that hasn't stopped the company from revamping their streaming service under a new platform backbone, Endeavor Streaming Group. On Wednesday this week, the company announced that the network would be getting a major overhaul in its design, but that won't be the only thing changing about the service. Thursday's release confirmed the rumors of the addition of free and premier tiers, and though we don't exactly know what that means, fans have already been in speculation. For months now, fans have speculated that a tiered service would allow subscribers to be able to pay more to see indie promotions on the network, and though that seemed like a fantasy just a few months ago, the company did recently show Evolve's 10th anniversary, so it doesn't seem so far-fetched now. George Barrios noted that not only will there be new tiers to the network, but the company will also be working on more localized languages for fans across the world. According to Barrios, all these changes will be made within the next year, starting with the revamped look, followed by the free tier, then the premier tier, and then finally the new languages. It sure sounds like a lot of work for WWE to pull off over the next 12 months, but it's clear that WWE has the time, the money, and the resources to make it happen. Well, I think we've talked about enough finance for now, so let's look at something more exciting, as All Elite Wrestling is set to debut on TNT on October 2nd. Since their launch earlier this year, AEW has quickly garnered a legion of fans thanks to its incredible roster, though it's been revealed that the company wants one of wrestling's biggest ever stars in CM Punk. According to ESPN this week, the former WWE champion revealed that he did recently get a text message from AEW founder Cody Rhodes, though Punk wasn't exactly excited about this, saying, "I almost don't even know how to reply to them sometimes, because if I reply, they do interviews and are like, 'Oh yeah, I just talked to Punk.' I'm kinda damned if I do, damned if I don't. I always think if somebody wants to do business with me, they can come talk to me. Texting offers isn't really a way to do good business, at least." Confirming that an offer did come via text message, we can't exactly blame Punk for his response to this, as the best in the world is a businessman and clearly expects any future deal to be handled with something more formal than a text message. Though Punk has remained distant from the wrestling world since he walked out of WWE in January 2014, fans remain hopeful that Punk returns to the squared circle after 2 losses in the Octagon. When asked if he feels there's an expectation to sign, Punk admitted there is, but that this has only been brought on by the fans themselves. He said, "My silence to some fans means something. They're trying to read the tea leaves, but there's nothing to read. I even feel like talking about it may feel like I'm putting some sort of negative slant on it, but I'm really not." Continuing, the former world champion said how though fans and people in the industry like to make videos about him returning, very few actually ask him directly. "They're constantly talking about me in the media, and again, maybe this sounds like I'm badgering them, but I'm not. It's just something that happens. I'm a popular guy to talk about, but I'm not doing interviews talking about them. If people ask me about it, I say no, I won't be there." It's obvious that AEW is eager to sign the Second City Savior, and with their TV show set to launch this October, having such a recognizable face on board could only help the company gain a growing audience. Ultimately, though, this all comes down to Punk's decision, and with Chris Jericho saying that AEW doesn't need CM Punk, only time will tell whether we see the best in the world lace up his boots once again, this time in an AEW ring. While CM Punk may not have any plans on returning to WWE ever again, one superstar who recently did was Stone Cold Steve Austin, as the Rattlesnake played a major part of this past Monday's Raw reunion. Appearing on the 3-hour show, Austin was consistently over with the crowd and closed out the show with a toast to Raw and plenty of Steve Weisers. In a fitting end to the epic show, Austin's appearance also allowed the Rattlesnake to promote his Broken Skull IPA, with the brewery behind the beverage now being flooded with requests by fans. On El Segundo Brewing's Facebook page, the brewery addressed these requests, saying, "We've received hundreds, if not thousands of inquiries as to where you can find Broken Skull IPA. Currently, Broken Skull is only available in Southern California and sometimes Portland, Oregon, roughly in the vicinity of the Broken Skulls on the map. The good news is that we are working on distribution plans to reach the masses." Even after 16 years since he retired from the ring, it's obvious that Austin remains a huge star both in and out of the ring, and with the Bionic Redneck's new show, Straight Up Steve Austin, coming to the USA Network later this year, it seems business is good for one of the greatest of all time. Though Austin was clearly the main star of Raw Reunion, he wasn't the only legend in town, as various stars including Sean Waltman and Scott Hall made an appearance during the 3-hour event. During the show, Waltman and Hall appeared in the ring with AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, and though the segment with the OC was fun, many fans didn't enjoy it. There was some criticism directed at WWE, with many fans seeing this as burying the stars of today, and the two Hall of Famers took to Waltman's podcast to address the situation. When asked what he thought about it, Hall said, "What people don't realize is that everybody in that room was like, well geez, we're kind of burying those guys. It was addressed and it was overruled. Though it was great to see the legends get a moment to shine, it did seem to come at the expense of the OC, so hopefully things will be better for the club next week on Raw when they can once again turn their attention to the stars of today." We're ending with some unfortunate news today, as WWE Raw superstar Jimmy Uso has been arrested and charged for driving under the influence in Florida. At 3:04 a.m., Uso was pulled over for driving erratically and was also given a speeding ticket, though this isn't the first time the former tag team champion has had a problem with the law. In February of this year, Uso was arrested following a drunken altercation with a police officer in Detroit, and this most recent arrest comes just days after John Cena joked about the incident from February on this week's Raw reunion. According to Brad Shepard, the WWE are very concerned about Jimmy's recent actions, and they're not the only ones who are worried. Shepard said, "I'm told that there's a concern that his behavior could cause him to lose everything, including his marriage to WWE superstar Naomi." Uso has a court appearance set for Thursday, August 15th, just days after SummerSlam, and WWE issued the following statement saying, "Jonathan Fatu is responsible for his own personal actions." Hopefully, this recent arrest will be the wake-up call Jimmy needs to get his life back on track, and if he continues down this road, he doesn't just risk losing his job, but also the job of his brother Jay, and could even lose his health and possibly life in the process. Well guys, that's our news for today. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to check out our previous video, 10 huge, shocking WWE 2019 rumors you need to know about. Also check out our other high-rated videos by clicking at the upper right-hand corner or down in the description field. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and the bell icon so you don't miss a single new video. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, thank you for watching.